Hello my good fellas, this is the second part of a video in which we compare the movie The Godfather and The Godfather book. If you haven't seen the first chapter, pause the video and come back after watching the first part, the link is in the upper left corner. My name is Ivan Piatouski and you are watching Vano VHS. In the film, Luca Brasi is a completely mere character. 2 episodes at the beginning of the film with a gruesome death in the second. This, you must agree, is not enough. He has a tangibly greater role in the book, not because he often intervenes in events or plays an important role in them, not at all. In Puzo, he also dies very rapidly. But he was such an imposing figure during his lifetime that, even many years after his death, the characters keep mentioning Luca Brasi, the man who served as Don Corleone's handy bull terrier and kept the whole town in fear. And no, this is not an exaggeration. In the movie he is barely noticed by those present. One would think he was simply one of the men for slippery errands and dark deeds. In the book, the halo of terror he created was such that even hardened killers and masterminds tried to get out of his way. You have to be a very peculiar person in the New York crime scene of the 40s to deserve such a reputation. Luca Brasi did. More than once or twice the characters in the film will recall chilling stories from his life. He alone, according to Sonny, is worth an entire army, and the only person who can order him anything, or even order him, just look him in the eye, is Don Corleone himself. All in all, a highly epic individual, comparable to a strategic weapon in his own right. This man was not a professional assassin as we imagine them, he was a kind of main caliber of the Corleone family, the backbone of its throne. The mere thought of Luca Brasi defecting to his rivals after the assassination attempt on Vito Corleone makes Sonny shudder. In the film his figure looks rather pale and low-key, just a flabby old gangster, upon whom it is unclear why the family has any hopes. Well, they had every reason to hope, and no one, not even Sonny and Michael, had supposed that Salazar would so quickly put this legendary murder machine out of business. I must say, his death looks a little ridiculous in the film. You'd have to think of going to a rival family and offering your services outright. No, if it had been a small-time bookie or even one of the militants, it would have been understandable, but Luca Brasi himself. What an idiot Solozzo must have looked to take this attempted infiltration seriously. Now, the film shamelessly belittles Luca. He was a bully, but he was by no means an idiot, and he worked out his spy legend for several months. Here and there he complained about the Don, then he hung out in the pub of a rival family, and, as if by accident, he mentioned that he was beginning to get tired of serving the Corleone family. He had a mistress and, as if not knowing whose informer she was, dropped a few words about how he sees himself in 5 years in a young, dynamic company. In short, diligently and fruitfully dropped the seeds on fertile ground, so that Salazar had a sincere desire to buy him out. It didn't work. Salazar was surprisingly far-sighted and decisive, playing proactively and taking Corleone's key figure out of the game in one fell swoop. A little postscript: in the book no one put a knife in his hand, it was just 2 men holding hands while a third strangled him. Gianni Fontaine in The Godfather is like a book in a book. We are intimately acquainted with his biography, and through him we enter another closed world of America, the world of show business. In this world, Gianni Fontaine is forced to wallow as he builds his career. He is married to a total bitch who openly mocks him. In his own bed there are women for whom he, the sex symbol of Hollywood, is just another trophy. Moreover, his main treasure, his voice, also betrayed him. Puzo perfectly showed that the world of murderers and gangsters with its unscripted laws and animal cruelty is not any worse than the show business world with its deceit, viciousness and falsehood. And the sponsor of this Vano VHS episode is Audible. Audiobooks are a great way to get a taste of a book without sitting down to read. You can listen to audiobooks in the car, at the gym, and you can read a book at any speed you want to finish reading faster. Audible offers an incredible selection of audiobooks of all genres. The best part is that the app has all those books we love so much. The Godfather, The Family Corleone, The Godfather's Revenge, Wise Guy, Hit 2 by Michael Mann, and many more. Remember when I told you about the special edition of The Godfather with the Coppola introduction? You can listen to it today. All you have to do is visit audibletrial.com/Vano VHS and ask for a trial. New users can try Audible for free for 30 days. Goodfellas, they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. I love books, but I don't always have time to read a paper version. But with Audible I can always enjoy The Godfather on the road or while driving. I really hope you will enjoy it too. Visit audibletrial.com/Vano VHS and use a trial. All links are in the description. As an Audible associate, I earn from qualifying purchases, at no cost to you. Finally, we get to the murder of Sonny. No, the murder is transferred to the screen with almost manic accuracy, everything is alright here, but the reasoning for it is only in the book. From the movie it might seem that the enemies of the Corleone family simply decided to eliminate a key enemy figure, and they did, simply because they could. In the book it was a little more subtle. Sonny had been personally hunted for a long time, and for good reason. While at first Corleone's enemies intended to eliminate the old Don, believing that they would somehow come to terms with his son. They soon had to admit the failure of that theory. After the assassination attempt on his father, Sonny became enraged and directed his fury, for which he had always been famous, at the enemies of the family. A real war broke out in the city, by comparison to which Al Capone's Chicago games were no more dangerous than a game of soccer. As a result, the Don's eldest son became so bitter in war that it was impossible to engage him in any kind of diplomatic negotiation. So the enemies of the Corleone family gave up and decided, if we can't come to any agreement, it would be better to deal again with the old man, at least we can talk to him like a human being. So, Sonny was killed on purpose so that Don Vito, weak after his wounds, would take over the leadership of the family, giving the city a chance to take a break and make peace. Michael's new girlfriend, whom he meets in Sicily, is unusually young and attractive in the film, but in general nothing special. In the book it was more complex. The fact is that the literary Apollonia was a bit of an odd match for an up-and-coming criminal, at least because of her age. In the book her age is not clearly stated, but judging by the way she plays with her girlfriends and behaves, as well as a number of indirect signs, I would give her no more than 14 or 15 years of age. In the film, Apollonia's death seems like an evil fate that came upon Michael at a moment when he didn't suspect anything. Meanwhile, as one professional assassin not connected to the Corleone syndicate, namely Anton Chiga, said, everything has a reason. Some things pull others, and we are always responsible for the consequences. So it is in the book. Michael, though indirectly, brought his own misfortune upon himself. When he saw Apollonia, he became so mad that he completely forgot about caution and the fact that in Sicily he lived incognito, trying not to stand out. He began to shower his beloved and her family with expensive gifts and gold, while his appearance and manners caused such a commotion that the strange groom began to be rumored in all the surrounding villages. No wonder the crime bosses in New York soon figured it all out. Honestly, it is not easy to get respect for Michael Corleone as a prominent criminal don and the new Godfather, because nobody understands exactly how he gained the respect of those around him. Yes, he waited a long time before striking a deadly blow against the heads of the 5 families, but is his cold-bloodedness and snake-like endurance enough to be regarded as a superior criminal mastermind? Oh, the bookish Michael led his strategy long, hard, and at times unusually delicate. It was not at all limited to 5 murders. Over the years, he portrayed the total collapse of the Corleone family, and portrayed it extremely well. He dismissed loyalists, purposely weakened the strike force, never responded to provocations, never tried to retake control of the 5 New York families' occupied areas. Even his capos come to the conclusion that the young Don has slipped and, foreseeing the impending downfall of his empire, are trying to make their own careers. Only Tom Hagen alone suspects that all is not so simple. He guesses that, eliminating the old crews, Michael in full secret recruits new ones, and so deeply concealed that even his closest supporters don't know about them. In the movie, Albert Neri is just an extra whom the viewer doesn't even really remember, a faceless servant of the new Don Corleone, that's all. But in the book he was a very catchy, original and narratively important figure, like Luca Brasi. This was the new Luca Brasi Don Michael Corleone's personal bulldog, whom he in fact singled out, bred and trained, making him a weapon of immense destructive power and thereby proving himself to be worthy of his father. Anybody can eliminate a threat. It takes a special gift to subdue it and make it work for you. Michael had inherited it to the fullest extent. After all, Albert Neri was not just an ordinary criminal sidekick. He was actually a police officer, and he was a decent and principled policeman. Can you guess what it cost the mafia to get his soul? In the book, Michael went much further than his on-screen alter ego in re-establishing the rule of law and the status quo. The killings of the heads of the rival families were just the top of the iceberg. The war between the mobsters began all over the city and raged for several days. Corleone's men wiped out opponents and rivals, smashed their properties, burnt establishments, sabotaged them, and soon reshaped New York City so that the Corleone family regained its former glory. In the film, the final scene is very strong as Clemenza kisses Michael's hand, calling him Godfather. In the book it was less graphic. Vito Corleone's widow and Kay go into church together. Kay was never particularly religious, but Vito's widow went to church every Sunday, as she herself had once confessed, only to try to atone for her husband's sins before the Lord. She never interfered in his business, never asked how many people had been killed on his orders, but she was aware of that. After talking to her husband, Kay finally realizes exactly with whom she has tied her life together, just as she realizes that there is more blood on the hands of this good fellow she loves than can be imagined. And she also understands that there's nothing she can do about it. He's already a new man and doesn't belong to her any longer, so she goes to church with her mother-in-law. Very sad and symbolic ending. Subscribe to my channel so you don't miss future Godfather videos. Support the channel by buying the Godfather merch. All the links are in the description. Make sure to watch the full Godfather playlist on the right. My name is Ivan Piatouski and you are watching Vano VHS.